Hey everybody, let me just kill that real quick. Just want to hop on here again and just give you a little bit more, self-assessment and treatment tips. We started on the inside of the foot and ankle, lower leg last night, and this one is kind of compliments of my mom, really. Most of the time, funny enough, I see kids get this more, but my mom called me the other day and talked to me about her symptoms, and I thought, that's what most kids get, not people my mom's age. So anyway, I just want to hop on here, and in the midst of all the stuff going on in Minnesota and the rest of the U.S. Hey, Alex, so good to see you, bro. So good to see you. Thanks for hopping on, man. Thanks for hopping on. Got a lot to talk to you about pretty soon. Just putting stuff together, and I want to just make it happen. Probably not too distant future. I just need to call you, but I'm hitting the ground running, and I need your advice in the not too distant future, man. But anyway, so yeah, and I was kind of not gonna come on because I thought, in the midst of what's going on, what value could I, kind of bring, and is it really that big of a deal in comparison? But I thought, maybe there's some people still out there that I could help with what I'm talking about here. So I want to hop on and talk to you about it. So we were, like I mentioned before, we started talking about last night about a portion of my book content here, medial side of the foot, or the inside of the foot, ankle, lower leg. And we talked about posterior tibialis tendonitis last night. And tonight we're going to talk about pain on the inside of your foot and ankle, but mostly because the joints just run out of room, and they create this pain on the inside of the ankle, the lower part of the tibia here. Let me just show you. If I could, and make this happen. Anyway, so the lower part of my tibia right here, that's the inside of your ankle. See if I can get me in there too. But anyway, right in through here, right on the inside of your ankle. Sometimes it goes down into the inside of the top part of your foot. Sometimes it goes up a little bit, but it's kind of on the inside and front of your ankle right here. And generally it hurts when you're weight bearing, when you take a step on it, and when your foot is actually trying to absorb shock, and it's so flat that it's almost like your body's like a pylon coming down onto your foot and ankle, and it just generates pain on the inside of your foot and ankle right here, kind of like in the front, but on the inside, right on the lower part of your ankle. I mean, that little circle of bone right there, the end of your tibia, some people call it your ankle, but right in through here just starts to get really painful. Just kind of ache, get sore, painful right there. And most of the time it's, I had, funny enough, not too many months ago, I did a live stream about this regarding a kid in my area that couldn't do any sports, and he kept on getting passed by. So many pediatric specialists just passed him by. They said, well, he has growing pains, and they were kind of tired of hearing that, so they invited me over, and so we started talking about it, and it's not because he's having growing pains. Sure enough, he's a growing kid with a lot of pain and hasn't been able to do sports like he wanted to for like a year and a half, 2 years. So on and off, for quite some time. So Anyway, so what ends up happening when your foot is really super mobile and really flat, um, sometimes if you're not in the right shoes, your body just compresses, and you if I can kind of give you a little bit of that example here. It's just, I mean, as you see, my foot kind of collapses too there a little bit. And if I didn't have any help, right, with the type of shoe that I had, you know, over time, you can see how your ankle just runs out of room. You can also see how you get that, sometimes you get that bone spur right there, the same thing. It all has to do with the inside of the foot and what happens to it. But anyway, you can't, your body has no other, it has no more room to absorb shock. And it really doesn't do a very good job because it was never very high to begin with. So your muscles can't help out because they're just pounding that thing. And there's really not much that your body could offer in terms of shock absorption. So the thing that is really super critically important for this is really the right type of shoe. And most of the time it's at least a stability shoe. And sometimes with that carbon, you know, insert or some type of plastic kind of a, you know, lofting kind of, not something really soft, not something that squishes, not the foam stuff. The stuff that's actually going to kind of buoy your you know, your arch up a little bit and give it a little bit of help. Yeah, so if you have pain along, I'll just say it again, just so we're all clear and on the same page. If you have pain on the inside of your foot and ankle and lower leg, right through here, kind of like on the inside and kind of front of your ankle, it's because your ankle bone, and if you have flat feet and you have your pain there, it's because your ankle bone is rocking so hard and quick up into your joint that it's like your elbow's getting locked out and your whole body's being loaded on it. And so there's nothing helping it. And so I told my mom, I asked my mom to send me a picture of where her pain was. And I asked her if she had been walking around without shoes or without any kind of, you know, or maybe some really old sandals or really old, take your pick, any kind of, you know, old slipper or something, flip-flops. And sure enough, she told me that she hadn't been wearing her shoes for a little bit of time. She just enjoys kind of walking around barefoot, you know, like a lot of us do. But I said, well, you know, how about you go maybe try on, you know, maybe not your flip-flops, but maybe just like, you know, your pair of shoes that you've had. And, you know, I think about probably about a week went by or so. And I gave her a call actually this morning. And she said, yeah, you know, I figured it out. And I asked her what it was. And she said, well, I put on my shoes and the pain really subsided. And I thought, yeah, it's pretty well what I thought probably would happen. Because I know my mom, I mean, it's funny enough, I think a couple years ago, I thought, you know, looking at your foot, I'm really surprised you've never had any knee pain at all. And, you know, I was really impressed. But sure enough, you know, it develops now. And it's just really kind of interesting how that works, because normally it's the kids that have to deal with this as they're growing, and their foot, the genetic kind of, you know, their biomechanical genetic kind of makeup just isn't allowing for the foot ligaments and the muscles and the tendons to really help out. So, anyway, yeah, so if you start having pain, or if you've had pain here in the past, right, the kind of the like kind of in front of, it's like a dull soreness. It's kind of at the inside and front of your ankle, right at like this area generally is where it begins. Then as it gets worse, it just kind of fades into other areas of your foot and ankle, and then it starts to swell. But yeah, generally these are the guys that have like really flat feet. And they started running, they're in awful shoes, and there's no helping it. You got to get the right type of shoe. You got to have at least a stability shoe, number one. And since we've been talking about pain on the inside of the foot and ankle, generally the treatment's fairly similar. It's not the posterior tibialis, the tendon, like I talked about last live stream, but and so you don't need to put the tape up the inside of the lower leg to help minimize the strain on the tendon and muscle, but you really need to get some help for that poor arch. If where I was showing you guys is kind of the location of the pain point. So anyhow, same kind of thing. Let's go over it again. As far as the tape for the arch, I normally use maybe 2 pieces of rock tape. Sometimes Kinesio tape helps, but it just doesn't stick as well. See if I can do this well. Here we go. All right, so the idea is that you plant your foot down and you turn it down and out. So you kind of end up getting a really good arch there. So anyway, kind of like on the inside, on the bottom of your, the ball of your big toe. And I generally stretch it out about maybe 50 to 75%, like I have been in just about every other video. There we go. About 50 to 75%. And kind of go just on the opposite side of the heel. Anyway, there's one. Then I just double it up because this stuff isn't really super strong, but it does a fantastic job if you apply it right. And sometimes these guys, depending on how bad the pain is, these 2 strips will not be enough. You need something with a little bit more support as far as tape goes, and there's a technique for that, but it is pretty long and lengthy and pretty involved, and it might be pretty hard to duplicate for anybody to duplicate just by showing them a video. So I might do a live stream on that, but anyway, so about 50, 75, 100, so 75. You don't want to kill the tape, just don't want it to help. And there you go. So if you notice, that kind of keeps my foot like that. And you want to put your sock on right afterwards. Otherwise, this stuff does pop off like immediately. Yeah, but what you just did with that tape job is that you created an arch. But most of the time, if that pain point is right there, right on the front of that, what do we call that? It's called the medial malleolus, right? Right front portion right there. Because the ankle bone that you can't see, that rocks up in between your two bones, you got a bone called talus, and it pivots up and down inside of that thing, and it just runs out of room really fast. And it's almost like I said, it's almost like your elbow just runs out of room. It runs, you can't, it doesn't offer anything. And so, maybe it used to, but right now it's been towards the end of the range for so long, and just wham, it just ends up hitting that all day long. Particularly when you get out of the shoes, or the shoes get old, or all of a sudden you started, increasing your intensity of your training, increasing your distance, increasing the frequency of your running, of your training. And, on top of that, maybe your shoes were getting old, and, all this stuff kind of came together, and you started having pain there. So anyway, bottom line is, if you have pain where I just showed about probably half a dozen times now, you need to get at least a stability shoe, okay? You need to probably get an insert on top of that, which is like, just kind of helps out, the inside of your arch. Not soft, like either plastic, but a forgiving but firm plastic, or some kind of carbon fiber insert. I like the Sole, SOLE. Maybe I don't have enough time to pull it up, but SOLE does a pretty good. It's like an injected molded plastic kind of bottom, and they do a pretty good job at throwing in getting it some thin inserts for shoes that won't crowd your shoe and really offer you some pretty good help. But anyway, yeah, in this case, most things on the foot and ankle, lower leg on the inside, any kind of pain points or pathologies on the inside, generally going to help with strengthening. That gets into a very long and laborious kind of a live stream and probably bore all of you guys to tears. But the things that we just talked about are the things that are going to make it just simply feel better. And most of the time, what ends up happening, this has been going on for a number of months, it may have become a stress reaction before it actually becomes a stress fracture in that area. Your tibia can get a stress fracture because of there's no real very good shock absorption between the foot and the ground, and it just goes right up into the tibia, because it's like a pylon. Your body's like a pylon coming down onto a foot that doesn't offer it much support, unfortunately, and that's where you get the pain. So, what else can I tell you about that? That's pretty well about it. There's now when you have some neurological issues along with this, then you start getting this thing called Charcot foot, where and generally you're much older, you start to get in your 60s, 70s, and 80s, and you get this it's an unfortunate breakdown of the entire foot mechanics, and muscle that gets weak. And so then it starts to make a foot look pretty awful. A lot of arthritis and then surgery. And anyway, it doesn't go very well. So anyways, I just wanted to give you guys another tip, help you guys out, get ahead of this problem that so many people are having getting to their physician or surgeon, or that really just gives them pain pills, injections, and surgery anyway. So, sometimes you can't find the right conservative management guy, whether it be a PT, chiro, or, podiatrist, anyone that can help on this thing. So just thought I'd share it out to you guys, bring you guys some value. So take care. God bless you guys. If you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to go ahead and answer them. And again, man, hey, Alex, good to see you, bro. And Marie, Chris, thanks, man. Steve, Damon, Dolly, Tim, and Marcus. I just wanted to hop on here, give you guys some tips. Got lots of them, and I'm simply just going through my book here before it gets published, and give you guys some help. So. Anyways, you guys take care, and we'll see you later. God bless you guys. Stay safe, and Lord, heal our nation in Jesus' name. Amen.